The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Unalaska, on your new apparatus, job number 30759. Please utilize this job number when referencing your vehicle with Hughes Fire Equipment or Pierce Manufacturing. Let's get started with an orientation of your apparatus. On the bumper located underneath are two air horns. Moving upward onto the bumper is the headlight cluster. The outer light is the low beam headlight, and the inner light would be the high beam. Moving inward is an electronic siren. And moving toward the driver's side is a mechanical siren. Moving to the outer portion of the front of the body is an emergency light on both left and right side, and moving up is a turn or marker light. Inward to the next lighting cluster is a turn arrow and an emergency light on the inside. Looking underneath your apparatus, there are two closed tow hitches. There are 5 running lights, a center-mounted forward-facing floodlight, and your emergency light bar mounted on the top. The next set of images are general images, which give you a presence of where things are located. We'll move closer in more detail into those pieces of equipment and options on your apparatus. This is a shoreline inlet, which is a 20 amp plug, which also powers your auto charger. Looking at the pump panel on your left-hand side is a general working light. Moving across are the pump discharges. The pump discharges are color-coded and reference the gauge to the actual outlet. Please note the warning and hazard labels also on your apparatus and become familiar with those. In the center is the intake. This is an auxiliary foam location. Moving down, there are levers on the apparatus which are predominantly drain valves and your foam intake. Moving across to the center, this is the 2.5 inch intake. And once again, on the very bottom, there are the representative for levers that match the discharge ports and are color-coded. Looking upward, there is the number 1 crosslay. As you can see inside the crosslay, above the top of the crosslay is where the actual light is connected. In addition, there is a lever to release the individual crosslay holders. Please take note of the warning labels also in this section. As we move further up, there is additional hose storage locations and an additional lever to remove those individual hose carrying devices. Looking at the general appearance of the pump panel in addition with shelving, we'll dive into a little bit more specifics on your pump panel. Starting in the upper left-hand corner of the pump panel is the foam level A indicator. To the next side over is the foam B level indicator. This is your master intake. Over to there is the master discharge. And in the upper right-hand corner is an amber light indicating the PCM fault. Just beneath that, there is an audible alarm. And in between the two intake and discharge, there is the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. Moving further down, there is the heated panel gauge. This is automatic and turns on between 28 and 32 degrees. Looking also at the foam discharge for crosslay number 1, crosslay number 2, the 2.5 inch crosslay, and your blitz fire. Once again, all discharges are color coded. Moving to the right is the primer for your fire pump. And further to the right-hand side is the Pierce water level indicator on the throttle control area. The chrome handle is a rotating handle that turns a quarter of a turn for your recirculation. Here is a close-up of those images. Looking in the upper left-hand corner is your Pierce Information Center. I'll have a more detailed picture of this shortly. Moving to the right-hand side is your foam control system. Please familiarize yourself with the instructions on this system. The two next gauges are electronic. They are for opening and closing of those valves. Please see the owner's manual for information on those. On the right-hand side in the cover is your fire comm system. And moving from left to right is the tank fill, tank to pump, and your top deluge discharge. This is the information on your schedule of your apparatus. Job number is located in the center with the pump number following that. For testing, your GPM at 150 psi, the next one is 200 psi, and 250 psi. References your RPMs in your additional psi. There is also a govern speed at 2400 RPMs. Moving just below that is the primer drain, the flush valve drain, and I'll have a more detailed picture in the next slide of what's behind this cover. Across the bottom are your crosslay 1, 2, 2.5, blitz fire, and manifold drains. As you can see, the yellow lever, leave the valve handle horizontal for foam operations. To fill, move the handle to the vertical or foam filling location, and then return the handle back to its position. This is the manual pump shift override. Open the red latched cover, and you'll notice the amber light will activate. Looking on the left-hand side of the pump panel is the pump compartment heater, and just below that is the pump compartment heater indicator. You also have 3 additional future switches, which can be installed at any point later on. You also have an air horn switch. Looking to the right-hand side is the Harrison Hydrogen. Please familiarize yourself with the instructions on this piece of equipment. Locating also in this compartment area are 2 shelves that are adjustable, in addition with a pull-out shelf at the very bottom. Looking just inside the compartment, you'll notice there are 2 breaker panels. I have more detailed pictures of those next. Each panel has an electrical warning shock, and they are also independently labeled. Please familiarize yourself with these and the actions and how they work. Looking at the side of the cab, just on the main body are 2 SCBA locations with straps for safety, in addition with additional bottle storage. Moving just to the rear of that is an additional bottle storage with a safety strap, your diesel exhaust fluid or DEF fill, and just beneath that is the ultra low sulfur diesel fuel. There is also a center-mounted emergency light, and moving just up from that is the pegboard, which has tool mounting accessibilities. Also looking in the next compartment to the rear are 2 adjustable shelves. In addition, with a center mount or spine mounted pull-out shelf, which also has pegboard located on it. And there are two generator power and shore power outlets. Moving to the side of the apparatus on the bottom are the full-sized wheel chocks. In addition, with a step to step up onto the top of the cab area. There are also two floodlights in the front and rear, and a variety of emergency lights located at the rear, mid, and midsection of the cab and front bumper. In addition, there are more than enough grab handles, which have full access grab handles at the very top of the apparatus. The light indicated here is your visual indicator for tank fill, in addition with a floodlight. Looking at the rear of the apparatus, starting at the top of the cluster for taillights is your brake lights. Moving down from there are your turn indicators, and beneath that would be your reverse lights. There are also four rear-facing emergency lights, two rear-facing floodlights. There are work lights located throughout the area for stepping locations. This is the control center for your exterior rack. This is your FireCom port for your headset. Moving up to the very top and in the center is the reverse or backup camera. License plate light and license plate holder. And you have a sliding ladder. At the very top, you have long storage and hose storage. I'll have a more detailed look at that shortly. At the very back, there is an additional rear attachment point. Make note of the danger for moving equipment rack. This is what powers the equipment rack on the side of your apparatus. There are also caution and warning labels located on the rear of the apparatus. Please make yourself familiar with those also. Looking into the rear of your compartment is where the cord reel is located. This is a 200-foot 20-amp cord. The orange ball is a safety device to allow the cord not to continue to roll past its set point. Looking at the details of this, it's a 20-amp 200-foot cord, and the cord rewind button is just above that for push. On the right-hand side is where the fuse is located. Looking to your long storage, at the very top of the long storage is a variety of different type of tool options. In addition, with long storage, there are 3 ports that you can allow long tools to be stored in, and just beneath that is your hard suction location. On the top of your roof ladder, you have a 10-foot attic or folding ladder, a 14-foot roof ladder on the outside, and a 24-foot extension ladder. This is the location mid-cab for your water fill. This is the A tank for foam, and just opposite that is the B tank for foam. A center-mounted work light is located in the center. And moving just forward of this location, there is a red valve located on the left-hand side for your Harrison hydraulic system. Please check the Harrison user manual for more information on this piece of equipment. On the very top, there is the fill location for the hydraulic generator oil. And moving to the center of your apparatus is the location where your deck gun is located. And moving just forward of that location is a cutout for the portable Hurst tool. Please also make note of the warning label on both right and left-hand side of your apparatus cab. Moving to the right-hand side or passenger side of the vehicle, on the passenger side of the vehicle in the very rear, you have two adjustable shelves. Just rear and front of the apparatus, there is a location for SCBA storage. There are also safety straps attached to the bottle location storage. Moving upward from those locations is a roll-up compartment which offers adjustable shelving and pegboard. Just in front of the rear of the apparatus tires, underneath the bottom is the location for your automatic chains. Just forward of that position on the passenger side, underneath is the discharge for the pump relief valve. Noted in this image is the fuse location for each of the electric reels. Moving to the passenger side of the pump panel, the left-hand side shows the cab lift. The red protective cover is to engage the switch for raising the cab. The blue indicator now is pointing toward the strainer. Large diameter intake. A 2.5-inch automatic discharge port. The location to insert the tool for manual operation. 2.5-inch intake. Large diameter discharge, which is also with an electric valve, and the location here is where you would insert the tool to override that for mechanical use. On the left-hand side is a drain port, and across the very front are 4 additional drain ports, and I'll have more detailed pictures of those next. Just inside the cab, located at the very bottom, is a step. Above that step is a step light. Also in that same well is the air inlet. Moving up from that location, from the air inlet, is a generalized picture of the cab. Note the safety and warning labels associated with operating this apparatus. Please familiarize yourself prior to its use. Also located is the Pierce manufacturing label, which indicates the manufacturer, date, job number, VIN number, gross vehicle weight rating, fluid capacities. Underneath the seat is the tilt forward and backwards and the up and down air ride. Moving to the left-hand side of the operator is a mechanical siren foot peg. Moving up from that location at the operator's mid-knee level is the quarter-turn battery switch. Moving to the right of that is the engine, transmission, and ABS diagnostic port. Just beneath that is a location for future locations for switches. And the next switch over is the ABS diagnostic switch. DPF regen. Engine diagnostic. Regen inhibit. Moving up just a little bit higher than the operator's knee is the stationary OK to pump while rolling switch, the water pump, and foam system. On the operator's right-hand side, about knee level, is a digital pump pressure readout. Moving up to the left-hand side of the operator is the ignition switch. From there, the start switch. Moving closer to the steering column is the emergency master switch. The next switch over is the on, off for your headlights and running lights. And the switch next to that is a rocker switch, which allows you to increase or decrease the panel lights. Moving to the driver's or operator's right-hand side is the high idle switch and an OK high idle indicator light. Looking at the dash on the left-hand side of the operator is the transmission temperature, oil pressure, DEF level, water temperature, tachometer, and also located on the dash are a variety of different informational panels. As you can see at the very top where it says park, those will light up once they've been illuminated. In the center is your trip or miles and an additional diagnostic information. Located in this section is the right turn hazard location. And once again at the very top is additional information regarding your apparatus. Moving to the right-hand side is the speedometer. Volts. Your front air tank. Your rear air tank for brakes. And in the center is the fuel location where it demonstrates how much fuel you have in your apparatus. Moving to the driver's right-hand side is the parking system, which is the maxi brake. Just above that is your reverse camera. Climate control. Allison transmission pad. This is the monitor for the reverse camera. These are your wiper blades, and you would push for wiper fluid. Moving down to the next set of switches, this is the on-off for your engine brake. This is the location where you would select low, medium, or high for the engine brake. This is where you engage your all-wheel drive. and there's an indicator to the right for your all-wheel drive has been engaged. Tire chains, and the generator PTO. These are your mirror controls for the flat mirror and for the convex mirror. Climate control. Just on the top of your apparatus, this is located inside the cab for the height 11 feet 1.5 inches and the length 31 feet 10.75 inches. Gross vehicle weight ratings. Over the operator's head there is an emergency master, front scene, driver scene, rear scene, passenger side scene, and perimeter lights. Just to the right of that location is the mirror heat, load manager, 2 locations for future switches, electronic air horn, and a siren brake. Looking to the center of the apparatus in the front is the location of the electronic siren control and public announcement system. Moving to the right of that, located also in the center, is the Pierce Seatbelt Visual Information Center. And just underneath that location is an audible flashing compartment door alarm. Located in the center is also your main radio. Looking from the driver's side toward the passenger seat, there is a pull lanyard for your air horn. In addition, this is the control for your Firecom headset system. And in the center, on both right and left-hand sides, are push on-off red and white overhead lights. A general display of the ceiling area. A center display of the LED lights mounted with chargers. In the rear of the apparatus there is an access port. Behind this access port is the location where the oil and transmission checks are. There are also 12-volt access points on both right and left-hand sides. In the rear of the apparatus, over the rear seats, there is additional storage. From the position of the front looking toward the back, there is a center-mounted SCBA seat. On each right and left-hand side there are closed compartments. Inside those closed compartments is generated or shore power plugs, in addition with an adjustable shelf. There are 2 ceiling-mounted overhead push red-white ceiling lights. Your vehicle is also equipped with a supplemental restraint system. Please view the owner's manual regarding this system. Also in the cab of the passenger
is the location where you would fill for windshield wiper fluid. In addition, with 12-volt supply from the battery, USB style and regular cigarette lighter style. Your apparatus is equipped with a variety of caution, hazard, and danger labels. Please familiarize yourself with these prior to utilizing this apparatus. Over the passenger's head, there are a variety of different switches and cubbies for storage. To the left-hand side is the fire comm system. Moving to the center section is the siren brake in red, front scene, driver's scene, rear scene, passenger scene, and perimeter lights. This is also the location of your fire comm system for master control. Congratulations on your new apparatus, job number 30759. If you have any questions, please contact your sales representative at Hughes Fire Equipment. Thank you.